The Scene Loader allows you to easily load and unload scenes in your game. Right at the top of the script is a message that says it will not work for scenes not included in build settings. That means any scenes you plan on loading or unloading will need to be included in the build settings, which can be accessed from the editor's file menu. Let's go over the user prefs. If you hover your cursor over the words "Hover Me," you'll see some very useful information, so be sure to check that out. Additive mode determines whether a loaded scene will replace the current scenes or if it will be added to the current scenes. Loading scene image is optional, but I highly recommend using an image if you have one. Otherwise, the loading screen will be a blank white screen with a blue loading bar near the bottom. The next section is the Do Not Edit section. These are reference objects which are part of the scene loader, so you need to be careful you don't mess with these two options. If you do happen to accidentally delete them, I'll click on each one so you can see where each object is. There's the Loading Scene panel. You can see a highlight in my hierarchy. And there's the loading bar. There are two events. Scene Load Initiated happens as soon as a scene begins to load. Scene Unload Initiated happens as soon as a scene begins to unload. How about a demonstration? Let's use the Scene Loader to load the player movement tutorial scene. I already have a scene loader in my current scene, but I need something to tell it when to load the tutorial scene. I'll use a push button for that. I'll navigate to the Buttons and Levers folder and drag a push button into my scene. I'll expand the toggled on-off event and drag in the scene loader. I'll tell it to load scene, and for the scene name, I need to type in the name of our player movement tutorial scene exactly as it appears. Next, I'll select the scene loader to adjust the options. I'll make sure additive mode is not checked. That way, the player movement tutorial scene will replace all current scenes. The player movement tutorial is a very simple scene, which means it will load extremely fast. That means you won't really be able to see the loading scene but for a brief moment, but it should be noticeable. Since it will be so fast, I'm not going to bother using an image, so I'll just leave the loading scene image blank. Since it will be a blank white screen, it will be a little more noticeable for this tutorial. Let's go ahead and test it out.